This story starts all the way back on the 8th of May 2001, when right before the afternoon a bank is robbed in Sint-Niklaas, Belgium. Two suspects managed to successfully steal 1 million Belgian franc, about 25,000 euros nowadays. In that same month, there would be several other robberies throughout Belgium. The months June and July would be relatively quiet, with just one registered robbery. However, in the following months of August, September, October and November, there was an increase in bank robberies throughout Belgium, as well as France yet again. Who did this? The Belgian police had recognized that this became a serious problem and finally decided to put a bit more effort into catching the potential suspects. Then, a robbery in Noorderwijk was recorded by multiple cameras. The footage was shown in a TV show that discusses crimes throughout Belgium in the hopes of collecting tips from the public about the potential suspects. It helped. After receiving tips, two suspects were arrested, aged 19 and 20. The suspects, Majid Kasmi and Hamza Yaznasni. Funnily enough, Majid was arrested when he tried to apply for social benefits under a false name in Antwerp. While being interrogated, Majid tried to escape, even in handcuffs. It didn't work, but he immediately got the label as a potential runner, a very fitting name considering what would happen later on. As the investigation into the two went on, police found out that these young guys weren't innocent rookies. These two were serious business. During one robbery, they held 7 people hostage, of which one was a kid of just 7 years. It wasn't looking good for them. In 2002, they were suddenly on the brink of walking away a free man due to a mistake in the entire procedure against them. However, at the end of August 2003, the mistake was amended and they were bound to be prosecuted. But then, something unexpected happened. Majid managed to escape the prison of Turnhout, yet he did not manage to do so by himself. And here is where 20-year-old Ashraf Sekkaki comes in, who was in the same prison. At that point in time, Ashraf himself was already a well-known violent robber that frequently got into trouble with the police at his young age. When he was 16, he once held a firearm to a woman's head while her 4-year-old son was sat next to her. During another robbery, he asked the passports and personal details of his hostages and said, "Let's see where you live. I'll be sure to visit you again." This guy had no mercy. The two of them together had more than 40 counts on their criminal records. Well, back to their prison escape. The two had simply escaped via the fitness area of the prison. Accomplices had left behind a ladder the two used to get over the prison wall. Another accomplice had left behind a car with the keys inside, close to the prison for the two to flee in. Easy as 1, 2, 3, they'd say. It wasn't Ashraf's first escape either. At age 16, he had already escaped multiple times from the youth institution he was held in. You would think that after their escape, the two would lay low and take it easy for a while. But no, they went straight back to business. Police knew it was only a matter of time before the two would strike again, leading them to increase their efforts in finding them as soon as possible. At the end of November 2003, 4 friends of Ashraf were arrested for allegedly helping him and Majid escape the prison. The 4 men were interrogated with the hopes of finding information about Ashraf as well as Majid. The interrogations yielded nothing, besides the suspicion that the 2 men fled to Morocco. It must be said that with their arrest and the suspicion of them being in Morocco, the amount of robberies in Belgium significantly slowed down. That's why police knew they were back in town at the end of December and the beginning of January, when the amount of robberies on smaller banks throughout Belgium skyrocketed again. Police showed the victims 2 pictures, one of Ashraf Sekkaki and one of Majid Kasmi. Unanimously, they said, "We are 100% sure that these are the robbers." So, the two were back to what they were doing best. After they had robbed the AXA Bank in Brecht, a town near Antwerp, they were almost caught again. The two drove off while being chased by police. Their car crashed, which led them to carjacking another car. Shots were fired by the police in an attempt to stop them, but to no avail. The men managed to flee. How lucky can you be? The two escaped a police chase yet again, but they were running out of luck. Majid would be arrested in Amsterdam on the 11th of January 2004 and Ashraf a month later, in February, in Borgerhout, Belgium. On the 6th of March 2004, Majid was prosecuted for the robberies he did together with Hamza Yaznasni in 2001. Prosecutors demanded a 23-year-long sentence for him. Prosecutor Marianne Capel was clear in her stance towards Majid and was quite straightforward. You are a predator that only acts upon instinct. Lies are the only thing you tell. Robberies, burglaries, car theft, you were involved in it all, she went on to say. During conversations that were tapped between you two, we can hear you say that the insurance would cover the damages. What about the emotional damage to the victims? The sleepless nights and flashbacks? That's something the insurance companies can't pay back. You pulled the trigger against the head of a victim and held a 7-year-old hostage. It's time for you to pay. You should be locked up so you can't ruin any more lives. You don't deserve a second chance. You deserve the maximum sentence. Majid's lawyer, Philippe Carceau, countered Marianne by saying that Majid was still a kid and had only an IQ of 75. He went on to say that such a low IQ is often considered as retarded and that Majid did not know any better. As young as 14, he already started stealing cars and just hasn't stopped stealing since. His lawyer's interesting rebuttal might have helped, because at the beginning of April 2004, Majid was sentenced to 14 years of effective prison time and an added 10 years of probation with strict rules. This was not the maximum sentence. Majid even appealed the sentence and ultimately got it reduced to 13 years of jail. That wasn't all though. He was also yet to be sentenced for all the robberies he committed with Ashraf Sekkaki. Majid got 14 months extra on his 13-year jail sentence. Ashraf admitted to everything and smiled, saying, "I don't dispute anything." He was sentenced to an indefinite sentence that is given to people who have a mental disorder or mental impairment that makes them insufficiently in control of their actions. As I said, this sentence is indefinite, and thus could potentially be for life, not giving the prosecuted person an outlook on when they could be free again. Part of this heavy sentence was that Ashraf tried to purchase Kalashnikovs, Uzis, and a rocket launcher after his escape from prison. He showed signs that definitely troubled the prosecutors. "If I want to escape, I escape. Just wait," Ashraf has said while in jail. And so he did. On the 23rd of July 2009, a woman named Kelly Verstraeten visited HELI Promotions in Dixmude, Belgium. HELI Promotions was a company that offered helicopter tours to people. Kelly said that she wanted to treat her Moroccan boyfriend to a trip and specifically asked to see a prison up close. You can probably guess what happened next. The tour was about to start when Lahoussine El Khadouhi pulled up to the pilot Ludwig Louvachi and put his pistol against his head. He forced him to fly off and land the helicopter in the courtyard of the prison. Chaos in the prison ensued as Abdelhak Melul Kayari, Mohamed Johri, and of course Ashraf Sekkaki hopped into the helicopter. Then a serious problem occurred. There were 6 people aboard the helicopter, and it had major trouble with taking off. 6 people were just too heavy. At that moment, Ashraf made a business decision. He threw Lahoussine El Khadouhi, the man who hijacked the helicopter, off. As the helicopter took off, Lahoussine was arrested in the courtyard and immediately yelled that he was kidnapped himself. Ashraf and the others flew off towards Brussels. He told the pilot Ludwig, "If you remain calm and let us escape, nothing will happen to you." While en route to Brussels, Ashraf decided to change plans. The police of Brussels had a high-tech helicopter that could easily chase the helicopter they were in. They decided to land somewhere in a large field of grass near the A40 in Alter. They ran towards a road where they attempted to hijack several cars, which did not succeed. Then they managed to stop a female driver and hijacked her car. They drove off and switched cars 2 more times, leading to them becoming untraceable. Police started a big investigation and immediately found out that Kelly Verstraeten wasn't actually Kelly Verstraeten. It was Lesley Deckers, a Belgian girl who converted to Islam and was the girlfriend of Mohamed Johri. During a raid in her home, police found evidence that she was the mastermind behind it all, though they weren't able to find her. The 3 men fled to Amsterdam, where they would lie low in a hotel. They did not have a lot of money on them anymore, so what did they decide to do? Well, what they know best: robbing banks. They robbed 4 smaller banks in Belgium, which netted them over 100,000 euros. Interestingly enough, they kept using Lesley's car. They shared the loot, and all went their separate ways, with one goal in mind: getting into Morocco. Ashraf and Mohamed managed to do so. despite being internationally wanted. Abdelhak didn't succeed after he raised suspicion by travelling with 20,000 euros in cash and a badly forged fake passport with a picture that did not look like him. He was arrested on the 3rd of August, a few weeks after the prison escape, and brought to jail. He was not the only one to get caught though. Shortly after, Mohamed was arrested in Morocco on the 6th of August, Ashraf just 3 days later, also in Morocco, and Lesley was arrested on the 11th of August in Belgium. She still used the same car as she had before the escape, which gave away her location. Not very smart. As there was no extradition treaty between Morocco and Belgium, Mohamed and Ashraf were set to be prosecuted in Morocco. Ashraf was jailed in Oujda, and maybe you can already feel it coming. Yes, he managed to escape yet again. In November 2010, he managed to escape thanks to the help of his brother Walid. However, it was less spectacular this time and only lasted a very short time. Ashraf was already arrested after just a few hours. Remember what he said? "If I want to escape, I escape. Just wait." He did not lie. He was ultimately sentenced to 12 years in prison. His prison time did not withhold him from still being involved in the life of crime though, but more on that later. Mohamed was sentenced to 10 years in prison, Abdelhak to 6 years. Accomplice Lesley got 5 years, of which just 2 were effective. She told that she cooperated because she was in love. Her lawyer said that she was blindly in love with top gangsters. The hijacker who Ashraf kicked out of the helicopter, La Hussein, remember him? He was sentenced to 4 years, of which 2 were effective for his role. So much for helping your friends out. The helicopter escape caused a significant change. Every Belgian prison now has cables stretched across their courtyard to prevent anything like this from happening again. Back to Ashraf. While in jail, he was still involved in criminality. Together with his wife, Saida B, Ashraf blackmailed prison guards as well as bribed them. That way Ashraf could live a better life in prison. He had a phone, better food, new clothing, and was also informed beforehand if they would conduct cell searches. He also had 40,000 euros laundered for him back in Belgium that he could spend inside the prison. And lastly, he also set up an insurance fraud back in Belgium with the aims of cashing big, so he could go on to live a lavish lifestyle while in jail. He has been sentenced for an extra 4 years in prison for this. It seems as if he never learns. This was the story of Ashraf Sekkaki, one of Belgium's most notorious prison escapers. If you have enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments as I tried something new. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next one.